So, all right. So, this is what just before what we discussed. Let's move forward for the deployment process because of we are in the process of doing deployment thing. So, what exactly I'm going to do now? Okay, so just take managed instance. Okay, so Azure SQL MI is going to take around 6 hours of deployment approximate time. Okay, so where we can able to reduce if you have the existing vnet and subnet, dedicated subnet, we can reduce that deployment. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to deploy the Azure SQL MI. Okay, so and I'll deploy Azure SQL as well in the past modules. Then after that, I'll try to connect from on premises, and how we can able to connect by using of the public uh, endpoint. Okay, so I'm going to deploying now here the pass one. Okay, so uh, Azure SQL and Azure SQL managed instance. Okay, so platform as a service, both the things, Azure SQL and Azure SQL MI. Okay, so deployment is very easy and straightforward, and we can do this one by using of mm, Terraform code, and we'll deploy by using of Visual Studio Code. Okay, so it's a part of DevOps related. So what we can able to do by using of PowerShell also we can able to deploy these things. Normally, yes, please. Any question? Okay, so if you don't have, just mute yourself. Okay, so if you have, just raise your hand so that and feel free to discuss. Okay, so yeah. So normally, when you are, working in the project, basically what we are going to do, we'll do an POC first. Once after the discussion happened, then we'll go for the non-prod. Okay, then we'll go in the production environment. Okay, so for the landscape designing part, okay, so we'll collectively work with the infra team, Azure infra team, and database team. Okay, so here we are going to do the complete deployment process. Okay, complete deployment process with the manual one most of the time. Okay, why? Because in the POC environment we will do the manually, so that DevOps team get clarity what are the list of the services that avail in the cloud end. Okay, based upon that, what they will do. Okay, so they are going to prepare source code information GitHub or Azure repository. From there they're going to deploy. Okay, so once the POC has done in the non-prod environment, we'll make as a code for the production completely we are going to deploy. Okay, so this is what typically the sequence of order it will going to follow. Okay, let's jump into the deployment process of Azure SQL and Azure SQL managed instance process, and we are going to discuss about the connectivity process. See, deployment is very easy to connect from on premises. You'll use for a lot of the option. Okay, one is one is for you'll have public endpoint. Okay, this is an enterprise level, nowhere we are going to use, but for the sake of practice we are going to utilize this one. Okay, and normally the network people going to configure for this one site to site configuration. Okay, this is going to give for on premises and cloud. So in this use case, site to site, when the when this architecture level architectural level requirement is going to come into the site to site, is basically uh, let's say the use case, business use case, customer is running on premises application here. Okay, customer is running one of on premises SQL application. Okay, data is fetching one of the SQL server here. Okay, and also he's fetching some data from on cloud also. Okay, so here also SQL is there, right? So this is the case, the application that they want to fetch the data from on premises as well as the cloud, you can use for the site to site. Okay, so we do have the other alternative option. Express route is the one, speed and edit dedicated configuration network level. We will use for the express route. Okay, so this is also you can configure, but which is very high, expensive compared to the side to side. So this is a business way. Let's say the other option. Recently, we implemented one of the customer. Okay, a BTS customer. He is have the application here. Okay, so in cloud and the database they are using for the managed instance for the data fetching. Some historical data in a on-premises end. So if they want to fetch the data from this on-premises, they can use for the both the network configuration for public endpoint connectivity only for our practicing purpose, testing connectivity we can able to use. Okay, the other alternative option, okay, so only for connecting of your on premises we do have point to site configuration. Okay, point to site uh, connectivity from on-premises to cloud if you want to connect. Okay, so the point to site we can able to use. So lesser cost, so medium cost, higher cost. Okay, low, medium, high cost. Okay, so it's again depend upon your requirement that we can able to use. At this moment, part of this demo, for the sake of interest, we are going to use the public endpoint. But we do have an option. Okay, so three things. One is public endpoint. Okay, service endpoint, and we do have private endpoint. So what is the business use case when we are going to use this one? It is again in-depth related stuff. Okay, so just high level we'll discuss. Okay, if you have any question you can feel free to ask. Okay, so now this public endpoint, just before we discussed, if you want to connect publicly access this tunnel, it is going to pass public internet, you can able to connect from your on premises to cloud. Okay, or else you can connect from the cloud to cloud also. Okay, let's say your workload running in Azure and you do have other cloud environment, AWS. If you want to connect public endpoint, yes, you can able to connect. Okay, and other thing is service endpoint within the cloud. Okay, within the cloud you deployed one SQL service. Let's say managed instance you have. Okay, apart from that you do have some application, some storage component, and you do have Kubernetes. So other service they want to connect without configuring of any network connectivity. You could, by using of the service endpoint with the network level, you can directly connect. Okay, no need to configure extra things. See, extra things in the sense, for the connectivity you need to whitelist the port numbers, you need to whitelist the URL, you need to whitelist the complete subnet, or else a specific host IP address, something you need to do, right? So that extra configuration is not required in the service endpoint. So private endpoint is basically, this is it's a kind of a SaaS product from the Microsoft end. So here you can connect any services within the network direct to the managed instance, right? But this private endpoint, it is going to give the exclusive access. Okay, exclusive access with uh, Microsoft Azure, backbone dedicated network it is going to connect, which is very secure. For most of workloads, it is going to connect. Okay, within the cloud, within the VNet, you can able to connect in the service endpoint or the private endpoint. If you have other, subscription, other VNet also, you can able to use this private network connectivity. Okay, so this is typically will use for the business use cases. Let's say you have, non-prod environment, production environment with a different subnets and with different networks, you can use best option would be the private endpoint. Okay, so that's what we're going to use. Let's jump into the deployment of processor Azure SQL and Azure SQL managed instance. Okay, anyone have any question? Just unmute yourself and ask. If we don't have, we'll jump into the deployment.
So can we give a private endpoint instead of service endpoint?
No.
Why so private endpoint should work as same as service endpoint, right?
Yeah, see, working methodology is as same as, okay. But this Private endpoint is going to give for the exclusive access the specific service. Okay, but consider this service endpoint, whatever the service within this, VNet. Okay, within the VNet, you may have 10 servers, okay, 10 storage account, 10 applications. Okay, see, within the network, if you are configuring the different resources, no need to give any extra configuration here. It will automatically connect. There is no restriction at all, no permission at all. But private endpoint, that is going to give exclusively. So you are going to create the private endpoint for specific VM and the SQL. Only both the resources only it is going to connect. Clear?
So it's for internal use.
Yes, internal use. Even external also it will connect. Let's say you want to connect on-premises also it is going to connect. But the dependency with this, you need to have configuration site to site or the point to site or express route. Not only for the internal, it is going to work external as well. But the service endpoint within this internal only it is going to work.
Okay, so I will ask in the other way. So
Hmm.
if I remove private that endpoint or the private IP, so what will happen then? So our SQL server and we can connect with public and we can connect with the service, right? So why don't we remove that private endpoint? Why do we need? So without that we can the SQL will work as same as, right? So why we need it then?
Which private endpoint?
Correct.
See, we are going to give the exclusive access for this particular resource. You are going to restrict, right? Whatever you are going to give specific resource, that only it is going to connect. See, you have one SQL server. Okay, you are going to uh, restrict this specific only for the SQL server, only one host that you can able to connect for the private endpoint. For the service endpoint, okay, so just for within the VNet, whatever the service is by default, it is going to connect. See, by default in the sense, if the requirement, you can connect it. No need to ask anyone. Just take this instance information and connect it. But that is not the case in the private endpoint. This service endpoint, other other aspect is which is going to pass on the public network. It is not that much of secure. When you go for the private endpoint, it is Microsoft backbone, separate private network. It is going to happen the data transfer.
Okay.
See, public endpoint, we are not going to use anywhere, boss. Okay, just for testing, we are going to do. Other than that, if we are going to work any enterprise support level migration, we are not going to do anything here. Okay, just for connectivity. But these two things, we are frequently going to use. Now, think about it. This is only SQL server is there. It is deployed into the one VNet. Okay, one VNet is there. Your SQL database is different VNet is there. So VNet to VNet connectivity by default it is not going to connect, right? How it is going to connect? You need to establish whether peering you need to connect. Okay, so peering it is going to cost. Okay, so only the way you need to implement the private endpoint only. You can connect between two different VNets and
Okay, so to connect with the different VNets, we need to use the peering. In peering, we need to give the private IP.
no, peering is directly we can able to correct. No need to use then this cost it is going to increase, right? Peering cost is different and the private endpoint different. Peering is complete resource level access is going to happen. You can connect by using the peering. You need to whitelist here the SQL ports and all. Okay, source and destination, inbound port, outbound port. That it is going to work. Okay, but this is cost is going to heavy, right? Comparing to private endpoint, peering is very cost. So that too, you are going to exclusively give for one resource, not for all this. So peering, when you are going to do, you want to access multiple resources in between two VNets. Okay. So here 10 application, you have 10 VM here that you want to connect, you can use for the peering. In 10 application, 10 servers, you cannot able to go and configure the private endpoint, right? You need to configure multiple, private endpoints. Then that is the case. Instead of that, we'll go for the pairing. Now that is the case, it is going to use for the pairing. Only one application, one server, then you can use for the private endpoint only.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let me, jump into this deployment process. Okay, so what I want to tell here, I have already with me the resource group. Okay, so we'll discuss the resource group and all. Okay, so I do have within this VNet here. Okay, so we are not, exploring about the VNet related stuff. Why I deployed this one? Because of the SQL managed instance is required to deploy the dedicated VNet and subnet. That is a prerequisite. That's what I deployed. So let me, deploy first, a SQL managed instance. Okay, so and parallelly we can able to deploy the Azure SQL. So just I'm just going to have this, create resource groups in. Okay, so that you will get some glance of information here in the database services, and we can good to go and create any of the past module service here. Okay, so here I am actually SQL all services. Okay, so databases. If you can see this, we have SQL Server VM. Okay, so we can deploy this one directly. As we discussed, okay, this is comes under the scope of platform as a service, Azure SQL, Azure SQL managed instance. You have, Elastic Pool, dedicated servers, a dedicated singleton database, and you do have SQL managed instance, single managed instance, Azure Arc. This Azure Arc is recently got introduced. It is nothing but it's if you guys is aware of on-premises uh, swarm monitoring. Okay, so which has got integrated swarm monitoring kind of thing. Inventory report we can able to create that. We are not going to focus on at this moment. Let's proceed for the single instant database, and you do have option, SQL Server ISVM infrastructure service. So we are pretty much aware at based upon use case we will go and deploy this one, but our focus is pass model. Let's jump into and deploy this one. Okay. The other thing we have, free offering. Okay, if you have the free trial subscription, you can use, but you will not get all customer options here. Use for the resource group. Okay, this is subscription is a building container. Okay, and the resource group is, pooled container group, or pooled model where you can able to have all your resources within this resource group. Okay, whatever the portal that you are going to use since 20, 18 onwards, this portal is portal.azure.com, right? Before that, azure.windows.portal.com it is there. Okay, that is called as ASM portal, Azure Service Managed Portal. That time there is no resource group. Whatever you are going to deploy, all the resource, it is in one bucket only. Okay, now later part Microsoft introduced this, resource group concept. Okay, resource group concept is basically isolate your environment, production environment, one resource group, US location is one resource group. Likewise, you can able to isolate your environment to get the accurate information, accurate cost. Okay, you can, just high level, it is in a container where you can able to place your SQL network databases, application recovery vault, whatever the want, you can able to keep it. It's a container. Okay, so you can go here, we can definition in detail. This I'm not going to in detailed definition here. Okay, just give your resource group, sorry, managed instance name, cloud picks. Okay, nprd. Okay, so SQL VM, SQLMI. This is my name that I'm going to give. See here. Okay, let me change this one the location here. Okay, sometimes few of the locations it is not going to accepting here. Okay, if the it's depend upon your licensing. Actually, my subscription is pay as you go model. That's what I cannot able to get it done here, and I'm just changing for the other location. West US2. I'm just taking here. Okay, it is accepting. And now this is an instance pool. It is elastic pool kind of thing. As I said, okay, so the managed instance related stuff, the uh, we do have only for business critical and general purpose 2 tiers we have. Okay, so recently this has got increased up to minimum 32 GB to 16 terabyte of storage, and up to 80 vCores we have. And the business critical, if you could see, there would be 4 cores to 80 cores and max to max, and 4 terabytes you do have. And recently Microsoft introduced this next gen general purpose tier. Okay, so we will get here a lot of options which is in a preview mode. This is going to give a lot of uh, options and availability options as well. Okay, so if you can go through this link, we'll get in more information, insights, and we'll get this standard tier and the premium tier, the premium service tier and the premium tier that we can able to avail based upon your requirement. And we do have options minimum 4 cores, since you have taken general purpose 80 cores, and we will get as per 16 terabyte general purpose one. Okay, so if you go for the premium one, also same thing. And if you go for this, which is going to take 2 terabyte of storage amount. Okay, if we can increase, which is going to increase here. Okay, 16 terabyte max to max it is going to come. Let's keep this default. Okay, so I'm just making this one 4 core, and minimum storage I'm just making 32 GB. So around average, the minimum cost is 61,000 INR. Okay. See, as I said, just initial discussion, you will get, software hybrid benefit here. I'm into the pay-as-you-go model. You will get, hybrid benefit. Okay. So, and also the failover rights, if you can get, if you're going to configuring high availability, one more instance, you'll get, free of cost here. Okay. So this is a hybrid benefit if you have the licensing on-premises license. The other thing is, backup related stuff. Okay, so by default, Microsoft is following all the backups. Okay, with this storage location, LRS, ZRS, GRS, and RAGRS. LRS is local redundant. Within the data center, 3 copies of data it is going to maintain. ZRS, 6 copies of data it is going to maintain between the data center, single region. Okay, GRS is, across the geographical location, India, US. Okay, so they are going to maintain 6 copies of data in a primary region, primary data center, and the rest of the 3 copies secondary region, multiple data center that is going to maintain. RAGRS is basically read-only replica it is going to maintain. Let's say you are complete geographically going to disaster, you will have the secondary center with the read-only option. Okay, so we'll go for the local redundant because of cost constraint. Okay, let's apply this. Go and utilize this authentication methodology. So now, apart from these 3 things, you can use for the intra authentication. It is going to work as same as our on-premises Windows authentication. This is a mixed mode, and this is a SQL authentication. Okay, but as same as I'm saying, but I'm not saying uh, as it is. Okay, now Microsoft is going to introducing the Windows authentication as well. Just 1 week back they introduced for the Windows authentication as well, so that it is going to highlight here next couple of months basically. Okay, let's use for this both the authentication methodology. You can use for the Windows authentication similar intra authentication of Microsoft, and choose your existing IDs, and you provide your SQL admin authentication methodology user ID password. Okay.
So basically, Microsoft Entra authentication means Windows authentication.
Yes, I can say, but not 100%. But process of working it is um, uh, similar. Okay, see, on premises you have Windows authentication, in the sense AD, you have ADUS directly without providing a password. You are going to log in, right? See, Windows authentication in the sense you are not going to provide any password. Just you are just logging, right or wrong?
Yeah, that's correct.
But if you're intra authentication, you are going to provide your password actually. But you are using Azure Active Directory account. That's what Microsoft enhanced as is Windows authentication methodology in next couple of months.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, so the virtual subnet ID, which is going to looking forward, I have already the VNet because of the prerequisite I already deployed. So what it is going to do, as and when this dedicated subnet is available, which is going to create a network security and a routing table. Okay, so that is an in detail discussion. I'm not going to exploring that option at this moment. And see here, there is a public endpoint just before what we discussed. Okay, so if it isn't disabled, you cannot able to connect. If you are going to enable public endpoint, it is going to happen. Okay, let me keep it disabled. Let's see this connectivity when we are going to do. Just move forward the security option. I'm not going to use anything here. Okay, so let's make this one default only. Okay, so simple click on create and review. This is what it is going to happen. See here, it is going to take 6 hours of time. But actually, I just how we already deployed prerequisites of VNet and subnet. It is going to take 20 minutes. Last day before yesterday only we tested that one for the regular sessions related. Okay, let it keep this one side. Okay, so let it deploy. Meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm going to deploy the Azure SQL as well. Okay, simple again here. Okay, so just go to the services and go to the databases. Click on here, and you will get again three more options, three services related stuff. So go this singleton database, provide your resource group. I have already resource group, and AZ SQL DB1. Okay, this is my DB1. So normally enterprise level, how they will follow? First, they will follow the location. Okay. Then after that, their application, let's say the CP is one application, whether it's non-prod or production, they will follow. Okay, NPRD. Okay. Then after that, they will follow for SQL or whatever they are going to use SQL, then they'll go follow numerical. This is the standard format they will follow actually. Okay, the naming convention. Most of the clients, most of the customer, we just delivered around 8 customers. Okay, so where we are actually. Here is the customer that we delivered. Okay, so as of now, okay, recently we just delivered this customer, and all support migration and all. Okay, you'll get real time feel only. Okay, so that I can able to give assurance. Okay, let's jump into this one. Create a logical SQL Server instance. Okay, so this is your logical SQL Server instance. Here you agent SQL SRV 001. This is my server name. 001. And I'm just using for East US. And here also you have option, but at this moment I'm going to use for the SQL authentication for this one. So it is very easy deployment process. Only you need to understand the concept, okay, real-time concept, where which option it is going to suit the customer requirement. That is the most important thing. Again, here if you could see this, configuration part, you will get two things here. One is for a DTU based unit, other one is a vCore based model. These are the deployment models. Okay, so the deployment models is in a general purpose, and the uh, uh, general purpose in the business critical, the hypercare we have in the Azure SQL, and we do have DTU models purchasing tiers here. Okay, vCore purchasing tier and the DTU purchasing. Within the DTU, we have three options. One is for a basic, standard, premium. Okay, so this workloads when it is going to use, we'll discuss in details later part. But at this moment, I'm going to use for standard tier. Okay, and if you can see this, even as and when I'm going to use for the premium tier, you will get an option to auto pause option, and lot of changes it is going to happen. Okay, here also you'll get different option, service state. If you go for the general purpose, again you will get service serverless and provisioning. Serverless in the sense dedicated resource it is going to happen. Sorry, provision dedicated resource it is going to allocate. Serverless, it is a pooled model. Okay, so you can use for the auto pause option, and you can use for custom settings, like only the minimum course and the maximum course. Later part it is not going to increase, so it is a budget concern related, then we'll go for this serverless option. Okay, let's move for this standard tier at this moment, apply here. Okay, so just move forward networking option, and move forward, move forward. And here is the thing that if you have the existing backups already in your storage location, you can take this. Otherwise, we can create a sample one, or else we have the empty database creation. Later part, you can create a databases, tables, whatever you want, you can be able to create it. Okay. We have 10 minutes left. Let's see. Okay, so whether it is going to complete or not. Again, it is refresh is going to happen. Resource group. Okay, USCP ESQL. DB1. Creator. This logical SQL Server instance. ESQL-SRV01. SQL authentication. SQL admin. So let's take this standard tier. Okay, so which is going to cost me a lot of apply here and the smooth networking. Use this public endpoint. Okay, so enable this security, additional settings, click on create and validate. Let's create this one. Okay, which is going to take bit of time. Okay, so not take much time. Okay, so let's see this if the deployment is completed now. Okay, both the things you can able to monitor here. Validation is in progress. Once the validation is done, which is going to create it here. All right. So you can monitor this deployment process, both the ends. Here is the notification bar, and you can go and see this, resource group level. Here I can able to see the resource group, and you can see this deployment process actually. Here is deployment process. See here, which is, first one is managed instance. Okay, so as of now, which is taking 6 minutes, and the deployment is 23 minutes is going to taking. Let's see, wait some time if it is going to complete, how we can able to avail. And just go to the left side panel. You have this SQL managed instance. Okay, so West US region. If you can click this one, which is going to show you into this, managed instance creating operation in progress. We'll see this in provisioning state. So we'll have, ID, this pricing tier, and you will get in all this location, data center, VNet information and all. Okay, so we'll expand this one. Okay, so which are in grayed out state because of the deployment is in progress. So this is for the demo. Okay, so if you want to join, just ping us. Admin team is going to take care of. This is 30 days of course only for the Azure SQL. We'll exclusively going to focus on PaaS modules and the migration related stuff. We'll use for the lot of migration techniques. Around 5 to 6 methodology we are going to use. Native method, tools uses, automation, and high availability disaster recovery configuration, all, whatever the things we have, we can, replies, which we can able to independently work for any new project or not. Okay, I'm just, um, pausing this recording. I just want to show something. Okay, see how we can able to follow these structures and all for the current. Pause this top record.